Hello, it's Baconair650 here to do the field review of Bing Field. Now usually the Dr. 1776 would be leading this review, but we wanted to get this review out here as soon as possible. But he will be joining me on reviewing some open play at Bing Field, so please be sure to subscribe to our channel to catch the action. Bing Airsoft and Paintball Park is located in Edwardsville, Illinois, home of Southern Illinois University Edwards Cougars. This small Americana town is booming with local business, which includes Bing Shop, where you can buy a selection of airsoft guns and gears, and also paintball gear for those interested. Their pro shop is located at 211 East Vandalia Street. Now the playing field is located at 3231 Edwardsville Road, which is just outside of town. For all our field reviews, we look at 7 criteria and judge each area with a 5-star rating. Before tallying up the score, we pick one of the criteria items that we felt the field did excellent on and double that score for a total of 8 items being judged. Each criteria that we look at includes the playing field, which includes the size of the field and also the quality of the field. The pit, facilities, and parking, pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be the areas where you're going to be setting up your gear and also the parking for your vehicle. The staff includes the rest and also any additional staff members that may be there. The operation refers to how well the field is run, including safety. Turnouts is your fellow players that are going to be coming out to this field, the number of players, and also the quality of players that are coming. Special events include the ops as well as any additional special events that the field holds, usually on a monthly basis. The costs? How much does it cost to play, and how much does it cost to buy supplies out there, or can you bring any of your own supplies? The playing field. At Bing, the park is divided in half by a small stream. On the eastern half, you'll find the pits and parking, as well as 2 speed softer fields. On the right side, you'll find the more traditional fields, which include wooded fields and the small towns. Let's look at the east side. The north field on the east side, which I believe is called Concrete and Barrels, features several large concrete pipes on its southern half and large 85-gallon drum barrels in the center and northern half as cover. I found this field to be pretty fun to play, although the transition from the barrels to the concrete was a bit open and made transition between the two harder. Now we move down to the lower side of Bing. We see the very standard full field. I believe it has had some changes done to it recently, but in the past this has been one of my favorite fields due to the fast-paced action. Unfortunately, with these kinds of fields, if you get too many players on it, it becomes too crowded and it just doesn't become as much fun. This, of course, is not Bing's fault. It's actually just an inherent problem with these fun fields. To get to the east side of the park, you have to cross a bridge that takes you from the pit and parking lot to the eastern fields. The bridge has kind of become an iconic image associated with Bing Field. At the east side, you will find 3 fields: Vietnam, Frontier, and Tanks. The field Vietnam is located to the north. It is mainly composed of several small bunkers, and to the north becomes more wooded, as well as having a few small bunkers there and a small structure located here, which is usually going to be the spawn for the north team. The ridge to the west is probably one of the most important points of this field, as it can get you from the north to the south side of the field pretty quickly while giving you good cover. The tower on this ridge also tends to be an important place to control as well, as it can watch most of the field as well as that ridge line. But the large openings in it make it easy for sharpshooters to shoot the occupants in this tower. Something to note is that the ramp to the tower, as well as the bridge from the south side of the field to the north side of the field, can get extremely slippery and muddy when it gets wet outside. Something I think Bing should invest in here is just put some no-slip tread tape here, just to give it a little extra traction. The field to the south is called Frontier. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best fields at Bing. On the north end, you'll find a castle structure, and as you move south, you'll find several small to medium-sized buildings. This also includes another smaller two-story building. On the northern part, through most of the eastern part, it becomes more wooded to tall grass, and has a tall ridge line that most players can get on. I'm personally not a big fan of this ridge line. While it's a very important place on the field to get good map control, when there's larger crowds, this area becomes pretty stagnant, and usually not much happens here except everyone just sits and shoots at each other. Yet, this is still probably one of my favorite fields to play at Bing. Now, the east side field is called Tanks. This used to be, to put it lightly, my least favorite area to play at, as the small tanks that they used to have littered in this field provide little and very awkward cover. The more wooded areas to the east and west were often more pleasurable areas to play, but still, most of the field wasn't that fun. Yet, recently Bing has redesigned this field, replacing a lot of the little tanks, if not all of them I believe, with several towering and larger buildings, making it more of a town-like structure, which really makes this a fun field to play at. Honestly, using this style of field at a large scale would be a lot of fun to play with. While I used to loathe this field, it is quickly becoming one that may fall into one of my favorite categories, although my girlfriend still hates this field. The playing fields at Bing, I will give it a 4 out of 5 star rating, as it has a good number of fields with lots of variety. I am subtracting the mandatory 0.5 star rating for having to share these fields with paintballers, which means that the bunkers and stuff usually get a lot of paint on them and I have to wash it off my gear. The other 0.5 is not a mark against the field in order to get the 5-star rating. I've gone to a lot of bigger and nicer facilities, such as Mount Blanding facility in Florida. These are actual military training facilities, which that's what I would consider a 5-star playing field. So it's nothing really against Bing, it's just really high standards. Pit facilities and parking. The parking at Bing is found on a small road that leads up to the check-in building, where you can pay your admission fee, buy BBs, smoke grenades, drinks, and food. Parking tends to be the downside to Bing, as it can fill up really quickly when there's bigger turnouts. For the pit area, there are 2 covered structures with benches in them where you can set up your gear. On our last visit, we actually got to use this area for the first time. Usually we just set out camp outside one of our team members' vehicles, and we just make it to and from the field entrance from the vehicle. The road and parking area are gravel, which makes it possible to come to the field on wetter days without getting stuck, but be cautious if you drive into the ungraveled area. We have seen a good number of trucks get stuck there. I give Bing Field 3 out of 5 stars for their pit and parking facilities due to the smaller parking space available, but at least the area is gravel. The player pit is nicely sized, but like I said, on bigger turnouts, it usually gets taken over pretty quickly. The office to the north is a nice sized trailer where they do have power, so you can charge your batteries last second if you need to. It's not recommended, and they also accept credit cards. Additionally, for the few players that run HPA guns, there are fill facilities for your air tanks. The staff. The staff at Bing tends to be where Bing does an excellent job. The staff is friendly but enforces the rules fairly. I was particularly impressed with our last visit when the ref greeted us when we arrived and did an awesome job during our day of play, especially when he had the very difficult job of balancing the teams. Although at times we have run into new employees at the field who are just learning their jobs and may want to take side note of caution with these new employees, as we heard rumors that one stuck a lipo on a standard charger and caused a small fire. I give Bing staff a 4 out of 5 star rating. Operations. Bing runs a good field. Now, in the early days, there were some safety concerns as the field didn't have any real safety requirements outside of some sort of eye protection, didn't chrono any guns. I am pleased to report that all of that has changed. Bing probably has one of the higher safety standards. They require full seal eye protection as well as lower face and ear protection. Additionally, they do chrono the guns to be within the outdoor limit of 400 FPS max with 0.2 gram BBs or the 1.49 joule limit. They do run fun but standard game types at Bing, such as Deathmatch, King of the Hill type of games, and they even have a fun rocket launcher for some of the more special games. They also try to make a point to keep the teams evenly matched so that everyone's having a good time. Bing Field is open on weekends for both airsoft and paintball. This is super convenient for me as I'm a flight instructor and I usually have to take time off to get out to play. They're also a rain or shine operation and will only cancel due to lightning or other severe weather. I do believe during the winter time though that they do tend to slow down their operations due to the cold weather. Nice thing that Bing does for the players is that sometimes a referee or a dedicated staff member will have a camera on the field and take pictures during the game. I really like this little touch that Bing has for its players, as I always really appreciate looking at pictures from the fun games that I play there. I give Bing a 5 out of 5 star rating on how they run their operation. They do things safe and they try to keep their customers happy. The turnout. This is really a hard criteria to judge as they can change from day to day. Additionally, this is something that's really completely out of Bing's hands. Overall, I'm pleased with Bing's turnout. The turnouts can vary from 15 to 60 players on open play days and can get up to the hundreds at the big game ops. Player skill definitely varies at these fields, as you will see a lot of younger noobs out here. While I admire these players for picking up airsoft, they occasionally do get in the way, either by just simply getting in the way or coming up to one of our guys and asking them gear questions mid-game. Also, at one op, we did run into a player that was blaring music out of his phone so loud that I wasn't able to communicate with people right next to me, in addition to giving her position away. Of course, we do occasionally run into the self-centered preteen or high schooler who refuses to call his hits, although thankfully Bing's staff doesn't really tolerate this sort of behavior. Now, I've also run into some awesome players here at Bing. Either guys like myself, all decked out in gear, but just want to have a good time and not being too overly competitive. I've also met some awesome, inspiring youth at Bing. They really embody what a great airsoft player is supposed to be like and behave. I give Bing's turnout a 4 out of 5 stars. The larger turnouts at Bing usually means you can get some great players, but also rarely get some unpleasant ones. So you gotta take the good with the bad. Special events. The ops at Bing are big game events, which are large-scale games that utilize the entire eastern fields at once. This really changes how the fields play when all of them are at play at once, as players can travel from field to field. These ops do not utilize any milsim or role-playing element, which is something I really do miss from the ops in Florida, which were hosted by Roundhouse Productions. Yet, milsim ops would be very difficult to run at Bing due to popularity with younger or new players who are not ready or interested in such game types. Yet the big game ops run at Bing are done very well, therefore I give Bing special events a 3.5 out of 5 star rating. The cost. For Airsoft, Bing charges $15 for open day admission and usually $25 for their ops. Rental guns can also be obtained for $15 and mask for $5. BBs used on the field must be either bought at the field or at the Bing shop. Prices are as shown. I will usually use 0.25 gram BBs and will get either the 2,000 or 4,000 round bag. Additionally, they do have heavier weight BBs for sale, but I don't have any of the current prices for this review. Again, they do accept credit and debit cards as well. I give Bing a 3 out of 5 star rating on cost. Their field admission is good, especially for the good staff and field variety that you get, but the store-bought only BB requirement and the markup on said BB are high. The good thing though about these BBs, they are OEM'd by Tokyo Marui. I do understand the reason for the markup in the field-only BBs, as they are running a business and it does look like a good amount of that money does go back in the field. Conclusion. Bing Airsoft and Paintball Park is probably Krazy Kat Airsoft's favorite field, as we do drive an hour and a half just to get to the field from Springfield. The highlight of Bing Field is definitely its playing field, which I'm going to double that criteria for them. giving Bing a rating of 3.8 out of 5 stars. While this may sound really low, it is really a great field, and I'm holding it up to some really high standards. I would consider a 4.5 out of 5 stars. You would need to run a really great op at a mount facility with helicopters. That's how high of a standard I'm holding up to these fields. So 3.8 is really good. Bing Airsoft and Paintball Park is a really great place, and I highly recommend players check it out, especially newer players. Our team personally, when we introduce new people to Airsoft and take them out for their first Airsoft experience, we take them out to Bing. I think that should tell you how much we actually really love Bing Field.